Hi everyone, my name is Muta. Today I will be discussing the ethical dilemma in fast fashion industry based on the recent BBC article from the January 19, 2025. Title SHEIN's backlash failed to detail shopper as the fast fashion game. SHEIN is currently the world's largest fast fashion in retail. The company produces billions of the ultra-cheap garments every year, attractive most Gen Z shopper with the price as low as $2 per item. However, behind this success lies a serious ethical issue. The dilemma. Shein faces a choice between continue its current business model, which depend on the fast production and low cost of maintaining huge profits, or addressing the serious allegations or labor exploitations and environmental damage. Report from the BBC and labor rights group showing that many factory workers in China work up to 75 hours a week. They are often unpaid and exposed to the harmful chemical. The company's mass produces module contributions heavily in textile waste and carbon emissions, making the fashion responsible for about 10% of global carbon dioxide output. Why it's an ethical dilemma? This is a moral conflict because it's a wage short-term benefits against the long-term harms. Short-term gain, cheap clothes for the consumer and high profit for investor. Long-term harm, worker exploitation, environmental damage, and loss of the public trust. Using the alternative ethical, the decision should aim for the greatest good for the greatest number. While shopper enjoying low price, the suffering of worker and the damage to the planet create greatest overall harm. Shein's leadership is under the pressure. If they ignore the issue, they protect profits. I risk the public backlash and regulation. If they take action, they may lose some profits but gain the trust, reputation, and stability. A close look at the Shein case showing that dilemma is multi-dimensional. It affects the ethical, social, cultural, political, economy, and legal areas. Ethical, ethically, Shin's practice go against the principle of fairness and respect for the human dignity. Workers are treated as replaceable toys, toys in the pursuit of profits, which contributed ulteriorly idea of fairness and equal well-being. Socially, the Shane's model increased the global inequality, while low-income shopper benefits from the affordable clothing. It is a marginalized garment worker in developing countries who suffer from the low wage and poor working conditions. This depends on the gaps between rich and poor community. Culturally, the article exposed a clear contradiction among a Gen Z consumer survey showing that about 70% of young people say sustainability matters to them, yet 40% still buy from the Shein for its trading and cheaper style. This highlighted this highlight is highlighting a model culture tendencies many prioritize fast fashion as a self-expression over mindful, sustainable consumption. Politically, Shin's face growing securities as the both of the UK and EU investigate its supply chains practice under the new due delegates law. However, if enforcements remain weak, particularly due to the lobbying from the large fast fashion brand. Economically, Shein's massive 20 billion valuation depend on the keeping costs extremely low. Raising ethical standards could increase the producing cost 20 to 30%, which might lend to the high price and potential 50% drop in sale, according to industry analysts. Illegally, China does have the labor protection law by poor enforcement. Many violations go unchecked. Internationally, Shein often avoids the touch EU labor regulation by keeping key operation offshore. For authoritarian perspective, the overall outcome is a net loss. The short-term happiness of the consumers and profits of the shareholders is outweighed by the long-term harm caused by the worker exploitations and environment damage. Solution 1. Gradual supply chains rainfall. To address the Shein's ethical challenge, one practical option of the gradually rainfall the company's supply chain, assessed through the authoritarian lens, focusing on the greatest benefit for the shareholder. In this approach, Shein will introduce third-party audits across its 6,000 plus supplying to the ensure fair wage, limits working hours, and safe conditions within 12-month period. Although these reforms could increase costs by 10 to 15% initially, fantasy against and improve productively may offset much as of expensive. The alternative benefits include improved worker well-being and moral, which could lower turnover by up to 20%. At the same time, it would demonstrate genuine ethical progress to environmentally and socially conscious consumer, helping to strengthen brand and loyalty and trust. The main drawback is possible short-term decline in profits, which might concern some investors. However, for the alternative perspective, this option creates a greatest overall good by the reducing harm to the most vulnerable shareholder, factory worker, while building a long-term sustainability for the company. Solution 2. Sustainability, integrations, and partnership. The second option focuses on the embedded sustainability into Shein production model by using eco-friendly material and formats ethical partnership. Under the approach, Shein could dedicate around 20% of producing to recycle fabric and collaborates with organizations such as Ethical Trading Initiative. For the transparent supply chain monitoring, this move would allow Shein emerge EU green regulation and could help reduce carbon emission by up to 25% of outcome Shein sustainability progress by H&M. From the alternative perspective, the option product widespread positive outcome. It's increased environmentally utility by protection resource for the future generation and customer satisfaction, particularly among our Gen Z shopper who value sustainability. Many of the consumer may even be willing to pay 5 to 10 price premiums of environmentally responsible product, which could support long-term sales growth. However, there are notable challenges, including potential distortions in material sources of the significant upfront invested of around the 500 million. Depend this handles the overall net utility remained high because this option reduces long-term environmental harm while maintaining affordability for the budget conscious consumer. Solution 3. Full transparency and consumer education campaign. The third options involve achieving full transparency across the SHEIN supply chain through the blockchains, tracking, and consumer education campaign on the ethical fashion. In this model, SHEIN will integrate supply chain data directly into the mobile app, allowing customers to scan items and view the verified information about each garment's label and environmental impact. Alongside this, SHEIN could launch a marketing campaign highlighting its reforming commitment to responsible producer. From an automotive perspective, this option offers strong overall benefits. It's in power of the shareholder, work gains the greatest accountability and protection through the transparent tracking. Consumer can make an informed utility maximum choice. Research suggests up to 30% may shift to ethical product lanes, and shareholder benefit from its reputation and trust amidst growing public. However, this approach would require significant investment, approximately 300 million in technology and marketing, and come with the privacy and data accuracy challenging. There is also risk a public backlash if its inconsistencies are revealed. This potentials for systems industry change and a long-term ethical improvement make is the all-over net utility high. Each of these options contributed to ethical progression. However, as the external consulate, I would recommend option 1, gradual supply chain rifle, as the most balanced and immediately impactful choice. Its delivery tangible improvement for the worker while setting a foundation of the sustainable long-term change. Thank you for the listening.